Hi, everybody. My name is Sam Martino, and this is my best friend and Crave director, Tyler.
Hello.
We're going to be talking about how to navigate the game industry with no nepotism and no very rich parents to help you get into it. This is going to be, we're trying to be as candid as possible because I need to stress how ridiculous everything about all of these experiences have been. There is a D&D map of Montgomery County explaining how to find funding in here. So there's a lot. And you can go next slide. The big thing is
Too many. There you go.
we are not tax advisors. We are not financial consultants. We are not giving you business or tax advice. All of these things are personal stories, theories, or possibilities that can happen in the game industry. We are not telling you to specifically do these things. Good. I see our resident lawyer is here. Are we good? We do good?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. My name is Sam Martino. I founded the Dogwood Gaming with my friends in 2016. We've been doing it. This is actually going to be our 10-year anniversary on April 1st, which is, thank you, which is
And we're still
crazy.
here.
I feel very old, very, very old. I've been giving panels here since we started the studio, so it feels kind of crazy. And Tyler, my wonderful best friend here, joined on with us. We truly can't remember exactly when because he has become literally a second me, and I don't know how we would do Dogwood without him, but I don't know if you remember.
I remember us sitting in the hookah bar late at night, and you being like, "Hey, do you mind going over these subtitles for Static? I think for a game."
UI is not fun.
Yeah, and then I just was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem, I can do that." And then that sucked me in, and then I've been here ever since. So that might have been 2018, but whatever.
Yeah, but not so. We did this all from scratch. We built the entire development studio from nothing. For the longest time, we were the only independent motion capture studio for 200 miles. That was a lot. We ran a Fiverr page, and we got what it was a sex game and a pharmaceutical company in Brazil. So you never know. You never know. But yeah, none of us were professionals. I didn't go to school for this. Tyler didn't go to school for this. This was just what we decided to do. And a lot of people always ask, why? Because I can tell you, my mental health is shot. It has been destroyed by all of the things, and it's not just like game design related. I mean, life, but it is a lot. It has been super draining, and despite all of this, it is the best decision I've ever made. I wouldn't have changed a single thing. I love it so much. All of these experiences I treasure so deeply, and it's really, this was a studio made by me and a bunch of my friends. And it was nice that we were able to kind of figure it out with no real professional advice or anything to get us there.
I clicked the thing.
So before we go into starting our own studio, I want to bluntly talk about the reality of the game industry. And just for those of you, people here that want to work in the game industry, I assume that's why I have a couple of you here. It's hard. It's really hard. And the ways that are put out there, they just expect you to go, oh, well, obviously it's not worth your time to apply online. And it's like, well, no, because all these companies are posting job offers. And sometimes you do actually get a hit if you send your resume out to hundreds of different places. But the problem with a lot of the big studios is they will have already have somebody in mind for the job before that position even goes online. A lot of these companies are legally required to have the job postings, but most of the positions will have been filled before it's even put up there. So not only are you competing against all of the other people who are now sending their resumes through this online portal, you're also competing against whoever they already had in mind for the position. In Maryland, we have two big studios. There's Firaxis, just XCOM and Civilization. They're awesome studio, but I think since I started Dogwood, and because I would always check the job listings for there and Bethesda, and I think I've seen Firaxis post 3 or 4 job listings, it's not. I think a lot of like. Again, I don't work for Firaxis, but they have a parent company, so I'm sure they're able to pull people from different studios, which is a whole other problem you have to deal with, is if you have to think, well, who owns the studio I'm applying for? Because if you're, I'm just throwing an example out there, if you're working for a small studio that's making a racing game and they're owned by Microsoft, well, they're just going to pull Forza developers over, and then that's who you're competing against. And Bethesda Studios especially has been our main contact in Maryland. When we started this business in a hookah bar, it was called Sam's in Rockville, and it was about 10 minutes away from the Bethesda Studios. So we'd always get random people from Bethesda that would come in, and it would be crazy the number of people that worked with us over the years who had the exact same story of, I tried to work for Bethesda and I couldn't get an email back, and then I go, you're so incredibly qualified, but there's no other studios in Maryland. So people ended up being pretty stuck. Sorry, I feel bad saying next slide. I don't want to reach over.
Next slide.
But that's how it is in Maryland, where you have two studios and everybody is competing for those two studios to try and work there. And now you have to deal with that on a global level, because that is just a problem with the game industry in general. There are so many people that want to apply for these jobs, that want to make video games, that even if you are super qualified, you have all the credentials, you've made games, you have all this stuff, just sending your information out there it's really a hope that somebody's going to see it. And that's really unfair. We get such incredible portfolios and resumes and all these things, and all the time I say, this person could work anywhere. But there just are not enough jobs available, especially when you go the traditional route. All the careers in video games are built through networking. It has I've lost count of the number of talks I've been to at MAGFest where when they're saying how they got a job, oh, I went to GDC and I met somebody and they gave me a job. Or, oh, my friend worked at this company and they gave me a job. That's how a lot of it is. But it's not so simple. It's not as just my best friend from high school now works at Bethesda, so I have a job. There still needs to be relevancy there. Which leads us to our best job hunting advice that we haven't gone through. But we also...
We ignore this.
Yeah. I should have also mentioned it at the beginning, and I apologize. Tyler and I both teach game design at a Bristol Community College up in Massachusetts. So we have a lot of students who come in that, they're asking, how do we get started? How do we get a job? So a lot of this is based on our experiences, trying to find what's the best practice, what's the best advice we can give people, how can we, help direct people to actually get somewhere in the game industry. It's hard for me to see the notes. I'm sitting all the way over here, and I apologize. You have to understand that when people apply for these jobs, legitimately, 90% of them have never made a video game. 90% of the people that are sending out their resumes and applications to these game studios have never made a video game in their life. They've seen I love this video game, I want to work on it forever. That's a great place to start, but what will make you stand out is if you've made literally anything. I stress this to our students so much. If you make anything, it doesn't matter what it is, you make a Flappy Bird clone and put it out there, you look so much better because you've shown that you actually had the drive to make something. And that's a huge thing that people are looking for above most else.
I didn't put this on the slide, but one of the best ways to do that, to get multiple games under your belt before you start going into the industry, is through game jams. We at Bristol kind of culminate the entire degree program into a capstone that is you're building a game from scratch with a team. So we're giving people practical experience working on a team in the game, on a video game, and at the end of it they'll actually have a full product. It's similar to game jam because that's the best way to say that you can show that you have experience in every facet that's needed to work on a team in the video game industry.
And put it on Steam. There is nothing wrong with itch.io. There is nothing wrong with the other platforms. Pay the $100 and put your game on Steam. It looks better. And it sucks, but it's $100. Like that truly makes such a big difference to show that you went through the process of also dealing with Steam, because trying to publish a game to Steam is a whole other process. And it's just like, these are little things that are going to stand out a lot. It's like, if you're a 3D artist and you've got a really clean looking portfolio on ArtStation, you're 50% of the way there. Like, that's like, people want to see, what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, and you've done it. When you go into actually like the process of talking to people, and like this is the hardest part. You can get the next one.
Oh, okay.
Like, when we talk about networking and wanting and like dealing with interviews, it's a lot. Like, I have to stress this, and a huge thing that I really wanted Tyler to be here is because he has done so much with me, so much with me. Tyler's a much more introverted person than I am. I am an extroverted person, but I have a social battery, and I get drained from doing this over and over and over again. It is so hard. It is so hard to be able to go and talk about your game and talk about the things you've done. I'm sure if any of you have been down to the Indie Hall so far, all the wonderful developers there, I'm sure, have giant bags under their eyes of having to deal with this all weekend of talking to people. And it's something that's a lot. And especially when it's stuff that you've worked on and you're creative about it, it's difficult to share that because you don't know what people are going to say, and especially if you don't know them. And we've been very fortunate that my realities in the game industry have been that if you talk to the people in person, they're gonna be a lot more helpful and a lot nicer than they are online. The people that actually work in the game industry, the people who I've met at E3, at the DICE Awards, at all these places, they're the people who we've shown like our hand-drawn characters from our RPG Maker game, and they're like, this is really cool, keep going. Like, the developers at Ubisoft and EA will tell you that. The people on our indie dev will not tell you that. That's just something to keep in mind for this. But it's exactly. So when you're talking to these people, I try to think, like, what's the best way to do it? And for me, when I went, the very first E3 that I ever went to was in 2016, and it is. I don't care what studio you work for or how professional you have to be. If you meet a developer who's worked on a game you love, you're gonna fanboy about it, and I do. And I'm like, oh my god, you made Mountain Blade! Oh my god, like but the thing is that there's a way you can do it that it's a professional sense, and people will continue to talk to you about it. I like, again, I'm not giving you all the ultimate answers here, but when I went to the first E3, there was a panel in one of the back rooms there, and it was. All glass, and it said Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. And I was like, oh my god, Mountain Blade's here? And I was talking to him, and the lead developer was there from Mountain Blade. And like we were talking about it, and I was like talking to him about like, oh, I love how the combat works. I love how like you do all the troop mechanics, like it's super complex. And that's a huge thing. If you get in front of a developer and you can talk to a technical point about the game, that is the easiest way to start a conversation. People will love to talk to you about it, and I can tell you from going to E3, that is how I started a conversation with everybody, from people that worked on Battlefield to Watch Dogs 2 was there, I think, like a lot of big games, big developers. That's opened so many doors. And it's just, you're showing a genuine interest in what is going on in the industry beyond just being a fan. And that stands out so much more when you're talking to people. It's also, next slide. It's there's
have to come up with a signal.
There's a lot of like best practices. I think are honestly. It's just you need to be a confident person that knows what they're talking about and is easy to work with. We'll go to the next, we'll get to like what are the two things you need. It's a strong portfolio and the ability to be able to be somebody that can be worked with for years on end, and people, you don't drive people crazy. Like that's what people are looking for. When you're talking to somebody, they want to know, do you know what you're talking about, and can I work with you for years on end? It's something that they need to see, not just your passion in these things, but there are ways that you can showcase your technical skill without having to bombard all of these people with like, oh, look how I did this and this and this and this. The example I always give for when we have 3D modeling students is when they're building their portfolios on ArtStation. If you're doing 3D models and you're doing that, if your portfolio work, do wireframe renders, do topology shots. Show that you actually know how to properly like texture an object and have it made properly, because that shows so much more than everything else. You know, a lot of people can make really flashy 3D models, but not a lot of people can make really flashy 3D models that work in a video game. Like when I go and hire artists, I do not hire 3D artists unless I see wireframe models, because it's you can make something beautiful, but if it's 3 million polygons, I can't work with it. What was it? We worked with an artist in the Netherlands who. She was in Belgium, and she was doing a race car for us for this vintage racing game we were doing, and she had a portfolio, and like, shame on me, I should have done like deeper digging into all of the like work that she had done, but she gave us this game ready car, and it was like 6 million polygons, like we couldn't even animate it. So like these are things that people will look for before they even like consider like, okay, this is a possibility. So the obvious one is like, well, go to GDC and do this. I mean, what I used to tell people when E3 was a thing was I said, find a way to go to E3, take your portfolio, you'll leave with like 3 job interviews. And you would, because everybody who went to E3 was a developer. They were all involved in the industry, and they were all happy to talk to people. With the loss of E3, the only thing that we really have that's comparable is GDC. And unfortunately, GDC has just gotten so expensive now. I'm sure you've all seen the like price increases and how they changed their like ticket tiers. And it's gotten to a point now where we've talked to a bunch of developers, and a bunch of studios are pulling out. And I'm like, well, a bunch of studios are pulling out of GDC, then there's not like, what's justifying the cost here? And unfortunately, I don't really know what the solution is to a big international gaming event. But I can say that I've had a tremendous amount of success in my local video game groups, which has surprised me. And this varies. I mean, this is from IGDA meetups to a bunch of colleges that have game programs will always do like, oh, here's game shows showing off student games or different conferences. I've met all kinds of people from these different events. And it's the kind of thing where if you never know who's going to be there. Like, I live in Rhode Island right now, and there's somebody in our IGDA chapter who's a lawyer for Epic, and like you just never know what studios people are going to be like working for, and you don't have to go to GDC, you don't have to go to San Francisco, spend thousands of dollars. You don't have to. Will it be a way to get in front of studios the easiest? Yeah, probably. I mean, Blizzard used to have a hiring stand at GDC, but I think it's a lot of money. I think it's a lot of money now for if you've got the portfolio and you can talk about what you've done, you can find what you're looking for at the local events. Even MAGFest. My God, think of the people we've met here. Marty O'Donnell, the like lead composer for Halo, he was at my panel last year. I was like, what are you doing here? And so like you really never know who's going to be at any of these events. And that's why it's like I always try to keep, game development stuff with me, even if we don't have a booth at MIBS, because I never know who I'm going to talk to. There's 2 different video game publishers in the marketplace right now. And like it's something that like, you just, if you have a game and you're around, it's a place to showcase things. But as we said the first time, like networking is a lot. I truly cannot stress that, like, I can say that, like, oh yeah, just do this, just go talk to people, just go show your stuff. It's not that easy. It's a lot. It's stressful. I have stress liking with these things. The whole time we're walking around MIBS, I'm like, I feel bad talking to people about my game because I'm not here, and like, these are all things that like everybody thinks about, and it's something that I've found it's significantly easier if you are in events focused around what you're trying to do. So IGDA events, any kind of local game events, those are going to be your best options to meeting people and getting your stuff in front of people. And we've hired a couple people from the Rhode Island IGDA that we work with, because like you never know, and like there's so many projects that are going on.
We've hired a lot of people from MAGFest, actually.
Yes, yeah, they're because you never know who's going to show up. And as I said the first point, if there's 2 main takeaways for this, or for what I can stress, if you want to go work in the game industry, have a strong portfolio that shows what you're talking about with what you're doing. You don't have to work on a AAA game. You don't even have to make like a commercial success. Just make something that showcases, this is what I know how to do, this is how I did it. And be pleasant. Like, this sounds like a simple thing, but I had a guy who was doing a phone interview with me for 3D modeling. And everything had passed. His portfolio was great. He had references, and I was doing the phone interview. And one of the last things he says to me is that, "Yeah, I work a lot harder than those hard R word." And I'm like, what the hell? And never talked to him ever again. And I'm like, in what world? And what's sad is that happened twice. There were 2 people that were applying for video game jobs, and you have this is a lot of what is up against is it's a lot of nonsense. Like I said, you have 90% of people that have never made a video game that are applying for these jobs. So the online sites and all the places where you send your resume are flooded and inundated with so much stuff that the best chance you're going to have of being able to be seen and get a job is to talk to these people directly.
It's my turn now.
Yes, please.
Okay. I've been given this one slide to talk. As you can probably tell, I'm fairly quiet. I'm very introverted, and I do not like talking to people. But this is part of the job. And I've had to work through that over the course of the past 7 or 8 years. Especially as we go to more large events, going to the DICE Awards, which I have a story specifically tied to Magic the Gathering, and the DICE Awards, GDC, stuff like that. I've had to learn how to talk to people. And I've found that you can use your hobbies as a springboard for conversations, and I have found a lot of success with this. If you find yourself in events with other game developers, the DICE Awards are probably the easiest way to do that. If you're at DICE, there are all sorts of networking events that exist, between speed dating type things to actual games and things that people put on, Dungeons and Dragons games, and in my case, Magic. I have played Magic the Gathering for going on 30 years now, and before I worked at Dogwood, my entire life was Magic. It was playing in tournaments, buying and selling Magic cards. I used to work at a game store for 10 years. It was basically my whole life, and we found ourselves at DICE a couple of years ago, and they were doing an event that was a Magic draft event, where I guess somebody from Wizards of the Coast came up and was like, "Hey, we have a new set coming out. You guys should draft it, have some fun, do a networking thing." So I found myself at a draft table with the CFO of Riot, the CTO of Epic, and some C-suite guy from Microsoft, I think, or some vice president from Microsoft. Anyway, it was a huge number, there are big people there, and I'm just sitting there and I'm drafting Magic with them. I beat them all, and I wanted to bury the lead on that one, but I remember playing against the one of the I don't want to name anybody, but one of the C-suite people, and I beat him, and then he did not want to talk to me anymore. So you have to be kind of careful on how you use your hobbies for that, because no, we met a lot of great people through that one event, actually. A couple of indie freelancers that we still have.
Who beat you?
Oh, whoa. Oh, God, I don't know who it was who beat me.
The environmental artist for
The
Blind Forest.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's awesome. She was really
cool, yeah. Yeah, we're talking about her portfolio and stuff, and then she beats me, and then I don't want to talk to her anymore. But no, the point of all of this is that it's a lot easier to engage in social situations when you're an introverted person, if you can find common ground with the people that you're talking to, and these types of networking events give you ways to make that more natural. It's something that you can find in MAGFest even, just being down in the console section or the arcade, and I find it to be a lot easier if you're playing a game of Halo with somebody to break the ice with them. But that's what you have to do, and you have to get comfortable with that. I've also found that, especially with these large, like bigger names or people who are in much higher positions than you, to have somebody who is very extroverted to lead the conversations and engage with them, that feels like the easiest way for me to get in a word edgewise with people who are not drafting Magic with me. Just have somebody who is more extroverted than you are to help lead that conversation. That's my thing. You ready for the next slide?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
This is where the nonsense is. I am going to be as completely candid with all of you. Again, none of these are business recommendations of what you should do to start your game studio or how to do it, but I want to tell you exactly how I did it, because I'm nobody special. I am not. I went to school. I went and did 2 years at Montgomery College, and I finished my last 2 years at the Universities of Shady Grove, getting my bachelor's degree in political science. I don't really have a leg to stand on when I was starting this.
There's another disclaimer later on too.
Yes, so
we double protect us.
So we were founded on April 1st in 2016, as our musician said, and we founded. That way people know we're always a joke. We started this entire business within a hookah bar. It's called Sam's Cafe. I had been going there for years when I was at Montgomery College, Rockville, because Sam's was 5 minutes down the road from it, and it was a really good place to meet people from my classes. I became friends with everybody there, the servers and the owner. And the owner, Marvin, actually is an accountant. And God bless Marvin, because if I didn't have him to be like, is this a tax write-off? I would be very, very lost if I couldn't ask him questions. And it's something that as much as he was able to help me, every business is different. There is no path on, if I want to start a video game business, what is the best path for me? They're all different. They're all random, and I pretty much had to just wing it. We ended up being founded as an LLC. I did it through LegalZoom. It was awful. Try to avoid LegalZoom if you can, but it's the easiest way to do it. So being incorporated opens an insane amount of doors. You, in America, have more rights as a corporation than a person. You do. And it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. The amount of the things that I'm able to do is crazy. And you would not be able to do them if you weren't incorporated. You cannot launch on consoles if you don't have a federal EIN number. You have to be incorporated, have access to that. You can't open credit cards or bank accounts in the company name without it. The whole reason I went to E3 for free the first time, and why we founded when we did, was because I needed to have 2 proofs of identification that I worked in the game industry. One was my IGDA membership, and the other was a credit card I ordered for the company I founded like 4 weeks before the event. So. But it really opens. It makes you so much more legitimate. It's a lot. It looks a lot better when you're able to say I'm Dogwood Gaming and not just I'm Sam Martino, the game developer. And especially when you're going to investors and publishers, it just sounds and looks better when you have it all done. And it opens up a lot of doors for your taxes. Cannot stress this enough. We are not tax professionals. I am not telling you what to do with your taxes. I am just trying to explain a bit about how it works in the game industry, because nobody talks about it, and it's crazy.
So with that being said, here's some tax advice.
So as soon as you file as a business, you're required to file your corporate taxes. You have to file every year, even if you don't make any money. If you incorporate in Maryland, you are required to file a $200 blank form. That is your $300 now. Blank form that is your personal property tax that tells Maryland you don't own any property. That is the one business expense I think I have every year that I have to deal with through Maryland. But it also makes it that you're able to elect how you do your taxes. Like a lot of companies will elect to do it quarterly. We do it yearly. I'm not making millions of dollars making video games here. We don't have a massive like budget I have to account for. Mentioned Maryland. Oh, last thing, have to stress it. You're going to be suggested that you need to work with a professional accountant. If you are just starting out, I was able to do it. I was able to figure it out when you're just doing your first kind of stuff. If you're not dealing with tons of money coming in and a bunch of different accounts, and like it's something that like I did on the $200 self-employed TurboTax form, you know, like it's something that it is daunting. It looks like it is so much more than it actually is. My taxes take us what, a week maybe every year, less than that to do the business taxes. It's really not that bad in the grand scheme of things. But the big thing that you're able to do with taxes as a video game studio is write-offs. This has been crazy. This ranges from what you can do from indie studios to the big studios. And I want to talk about how it works. So when you're a business, you are able to claim the things that you buy that are for your business are write-offs. They are necessary for you to make the video game that you are making. This includes computers, monitors, keyboards, games on Steam that are for research. Like, you know, you really can stretch it. Twitch, like Twitch equipment, like there's like you all this stuff that you would be like, this is going to help my game. Now you can write it off on your taxes. And what we found that's especially nice is that when depending on how the company is registered, if it's an LLC, if your company doesn't make enough money to match the write-offs, you can then take the write-offs on your personal account. So it ends up helping you if you're working another job while you're doing your games. This is why it's really nice to be able to be incorporated, because you're able to actually use this for your day job as well.
I do also want to stress, again, like I said a couple slides ago, still not tax professionals, don't listen to us. It is very likely that you'll be able to do your taxes on your own for the first, couple of years while you're doing while you actually have a business doing game development. That being said, if you do have questions, make sure to contact an actual tax professional, because some of these situations work for your situation and some don't.
Everything varies.
Everything varies.
It's just you need to find out what is the best for your use case. And something that is also okay. You're fine. So something that is like very important to note for this is that still in 2026, the IRS does not have a way to properly value digital goods. That means that if you make a video game and you sell it exclusively on Steam, meaning there's no physical disc or anything like that, if you sell your game for $30, that is what your game is worth. If you're making a toaster, you have to account for what are the parts that went into the toaster, and then the IRS can now see all of the materials and how you're writing off the materials, and you basically write those materials off of the final cost of your product. So you sell like a $60 toaster and you've got like, it costs like $30 in materials, then you can say you only have to pay taxes on $30 of that $60. That's basically how the write-offs work with what you're building. Now, the big thing with the video game industry, and we talk about how Activision writes off $2 billion in the giveaway category every year, if you would like to go through their tax records and see that. So the giveaway deduction is a really crazy one that affects, I would say, the movie industry, the music industry, and the video game industry. The giveaway deduction is that you are allowed to deduct the value of the goods that you are giving away if they are for a marketing purpose and to promote the game. They fall under marketing expenses when you're doing your tax deductions. And this can vary. Like, if you're like, I want to support a game night, so I'm going to donate 30 copies of my key to this school. You can then write off the full cost of those 30 copies of those Steam keys and say you gave them away. What the big studios do is that I'm sure you've all seen that a video game is coming out, and there's pre-order bonuses. And there are like 4 different pre-order bonuses. They're all from like, oh, if you order from Best Buy, you get this gun skin. You order from Amazon, you get this gun skin. Basically, there's like 4 different packs. Exactly. But so it all ends up going, when the game comes out, you'll usually see a couple months later that same pre-order DLC is now for sale on Steam. And be it $5, $10 for whatever it is for all of them. And the thing is that now, if you pre-ordered the game, let's just say you just pre-ordered the game from Steam and you were given a like $10 DLC pack that it is now. Every single person who pre-ordered your game, you as the company only have to pay $50 of taxes on your profits, because you can say that that pre-order bonus you gave away was a marketing expense. And now that it's listed on Steam, there's documentation of the value of the item. So when studios have like 4 or 5 different DLC items coming out and you've got people stacking them, and then you sell them all extra, like companies are able to get this down to like $40, $50 down on like what they're paying taxes on. And that's why, I forget what the year that it really set me off with Activision, but it was around when GTA 5 had just come out, and they were like, and they had, it was like $2 billion, and it was just in the giveaway category. And it's because like it's such a broad space of how you can do it. Now, I'm not saying like you can't just put 10,000 Steam keys and then give them to like a hospital and say, okay, I want $1 million in write-offs. Like you have to be like, you still have to track things. Steam has a system where you can query your Steam keys and you can see they're being used. That's a big one. Like you need to, like if you're giving away Steam keys, they don't all have to be used, but you have to show that like somebody's redeeming some of them. And it's keeping that paper trail is the most important for all of this. Like that's the biggest thing, is as long as you keep records and you're explaining what you're doing, if anything was to happen, that's what they're looking for. And especially for things like, these are all like fairly simple things. We're not even talking about trying to like finagle gas mileage and writing off like things with your car. This is just like if you want to make a video game and you start a company and you have to buy $2,000 in RAM now, you can now write that off against your taxes, and it just opens a lot of doors. But okay, that's a whole lot of theory on taxes, but whatever. That doesn't make a game studio. It doesn't fund us. And like this is a big question. Is like, okay, well, where'd the funding come from? How'd you do it? What was the answer? Where'd the money come from? I'm going to go exactly how I got to where we are right now, to our financial status, to how we're still somehow here after all of this. So we started, I went to Montgomery College, and when I went to Montgomery College, there was a program that if you got the dean's list, you got your entire tuition back that you spent at Montgomery College. So my entire college fund was, if you remember, I don't think they even sell them anymore. My grandparents used to buy me the like $100 bond things that you'd like put away as like Christmas gifts. So like that was my entire college fund, and I ended up not having to use much of any of it because I was able to get it all back in my tax returns. That's the money that was used for our first game. But it wasn't I think it was like 20,000 was what we started with, and that entire budget went to our artist. All of that money went straight to the artist. So all of it. So the money didn't go very far, but it got our first game done. Our first game came out. Complete commercial failure. It was made in RPG Maker, so it was a very uphill battle from the start from there. But we came out of it with not a whole lot of money left, and we're like, well, we should try and do something before we have to close, because it looked like at that point we were going to have to shut down in the fall of that year because there just wasn't anything. So we spent the entire summer trying to build really impressive-looking projects in 3D. I want to stress that we went from RPG Maker MV to downloading Maya to, yes? Yes, yes. It was so we were like I've always wanted to do that, and it was we were able to make these really beautiful looking models, and I was working with CryEngine at the time because CryEngine had a system where it was free, but you had to take all their updates, and it corrupted our project 4 times. But it looked really, really pretty, and it got to a point where I was at I was at Sam's, the hookah bar. We had a friend, Adam, who we played Sea of Thieves with, and he sold Magic cards as well. He sold this guy a vintage Magic the Gathering deck for $50,000. And then he started hanging out at the hookah bar, and he was like, oh, video games are cool. Do you need any money? And then he invested $50,000 into us. Which that money came from, he bought an external Bitcoin mining contract before cryptocurrency exploded and made like $2.5 million or something in a year.
This is not typical.
No, this guy is a wild one, and he comes up a lot in these stories. But it's like, but that entire connection was made because we had friends that play Magic. Like, Magic is a money game. There's a lot of money in Magic. So all of that money then went to building our next game, which was our first game. Do the back, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Which was our second game, which was Static. You next one now. Sorry. I'm sorry. So we started working on the next game, and that was fully done in Unreal Engine. So now I had a finished 3D game that I could show people. I was sitting at the hookah bar again, playing Minecraft. I was building Byzantium. That was my obsession at the time. Minding my own business, and this guy sits down across from me. I'd met him a couple times. He'd come in the hookah bar, and he liked video games, and we talked. And he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm playing Minecraft." I have my headphones on, by the way, and this guy's like talking to me, and he's like, "Oh, you working on your game?" And I'm like, "Oh, not today. I don't have to today." He's like, "Oh, you need money?" Yes, absolutely. What's that?
Once again, not typical.
No, and that was $10,000 from that. And his dad owns like funeral homes. I think that was where his family came from. But these are like nerdy hobbies. Again, he was really into what we were doing, and he's been, like, the money aside, he's been super incredible because he's been trying to help us find like different contracts and things. I did stuff with the ASL Foundation with him, which is really cool. Wait, sidetrack. But so we. It's
yes.
I mean, that's how we networked all of this. But so we were looking good. We had money. We're making games, and then COVID hit as I was making a video game about restaurants. So we had our survival. When I say this is absurd, this is legitimately absurd. We had a stock club in December before COVID. I had fun betting on like biotech companies because like I liked finding when their like catalysts were. But it was never like a big thing. It was like $100. But it was a joke, and like a bunch of people at the hookah bar got into it, and we called it Stonk Club. And the joke was always that if anybody made over $5,000, you had to get a shirt with the airbrush SpongeBob on it. And so everything was like really like normal, nothing really happened. Then COVID hit, and then Jimmy, our musician, came up and said, "Sam, what if you bet against like the travel industries?" I was like, well, that's a really interesting idea. And he's like, yeah, I like bought puts against American Airlines, and I'm up $600 in a day. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty crazy. So I put $400 in puts against Caesars Casinos, and I made $6,000 in 2 days. And that funded Dogwood until the COVID relief kicked in. It's like I said, this is not the answer, but that's how I did it. Yeah, like that was how we got through it.
Yeah, so our advice so far is to write everything off, hang out at bars, and gamble.
No, we're not even at the best part, the wildest part, and this is my favorite part of the whole story. If any of you play D&D, I used Incarnate for this. So I hold on. Is this a wireless microphone? Can I walk you all through the journey?
No, but there's probably.
Grant in Montgomery County. Hello? Maybe. Hello? No. Oh. Okay. There we go. Okay. So here is my map, not to scale, of the United States. As I'm sure you could all tell, I like boats. We don't talk what's going on in D.C. It's a dark place. So I went up to visit my now wife's family for the first time. They live up in Jamestown, Rhode Island. It's a really small, pretty island west of Newport. And they were like, oh, we have this friend who, he started his own business who might have some advice for you. And I was like, oh, that's cool. What do you do? He's like, oh, you remember the That Was Easy button from Staples? I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, he made like $10 million from that. I was like, what? And then he went to Boston and started a whole bunch of biotech companies, and now he's worth like $100 million or something. So he did really, really well for himself. And so I went to go talk to him, and I was telling him, I was like, there's just like, we can't find any resources. Like, investment is dried up. There's nothing from the federal government. I can't find anything. And he said, well, if you're looking for like under a quarter million under a quarter million, you should be able to find something state or locally. I was like, oh, I never even thought about that. I didn't even think to try and look at my county level. I'm sure they had to have things. So I began my journey, 8 hours, all the way down 95, straight to where my mom's house is and where I used to live, the den of sin and the best pizza in Moco at the Stained Glass Pub in Glenmont. That's where I started, and I found out that there is a Montgomery County Economic Development Council. They're no longer scurvy dogs, but they were when I was there. So I went there because they were the company in Montgomery County who would handle small business development, and they would do loans, grants, and different things with all small businesses. So I go there, and the office is dark. Nobody in there. So I call them, they're like, oh yeah, we haven't like brought back the full staff from COVID, but also we like don't help small businesses, we just do like real estate investment now. And I'm like, you're the Economic Development Council from Montgomery County. What do you mean you just do real estate investments? So my mom, she worked at a law firm at the front desk in Rockville. So she knew where all the government offices were, and I was like, who do you think I should talk to? And she's like, oh, I would go to the Treasury, and I'd ask them. So I went up Rockville Pike into Rockville Town Center to where the Treasury address is, where me and 3 other elderly gentlemen were wandering around trying to figure out where this Treasury building is, because Montgomery County has listed their Treasury building at the wrong address. So it was me and 3 old dudes trying to pay their taxes, like unable to, and so it's in the old courthouse directly across the street from the address they have listed. So I go into the courthouse and I go to the Treasury Department. I say, are there resources for small businesses? Oh, I don't think we do anything to help with small businesses. I don't think we do that. You're the Treasury Department. What do you mean? And they're like, oh yeah, I don't know. So I go out and I'm like, well, my mom's like, why don't you just go to the executive building? Like, just go and ask there. And I'm like, what are they gonna know? Like, so go all the way down Rockville Town Center, go to the executive building, the big tower that's in Rockville Town Center. Walk in, empty. No one, completely empty building. The lobby's totally empty, and there's like a front desk and everything looks abandoned. So a cop comes in, and I say, do you have any idea, like, what he's like, oh, I'm just dropping off paperwork. I don't have any ideas. Like, do you have any suggestions? He's like, I would just wander around every floor and ask until you find what you're looking for. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll just wander through every office building here. But legitimately, he just like put in the first floor, and I ended up at HR for county employees who didn't have any idea what to do with me because they're like, well, I have no idea. So they gave me the contact info for the now former business liaison for Montgomery County, who told me, oh yeah, we have a development council. They're in Frederick. Why is it in Frederick?
How far away is that?
Well, it was in traffic on 270, so that was about an hour and a half, I think. So go up 355, get on 270, go all the way up to Frederick, go into the building. Yeah, I don't know why he sent you here. We don't do anything for small businesses. And I'm like, what are you? They're like, yeah, he's called us asking for money before, but like we don't do it. I'm like, what? And they're like, but have you tried the like Technology and Development Council for Maryland? And I'm like, who's that? And they're like, oh, they're in Columbia, Maryland. Go all the way down 270, back across the highway. This did take me all day, all the way to Columbia, Maryland, in this, imagine the most liminal space possible. Like, you know, the rolling hills and the boring office blocks that don't look right and they're just all over the place. That's where TEDCO is. So I go into TEDCO, go in the elevator, find their office, and I just keep buzzing the door on their glass door until somebody answers me. And then the VP comes out and meets me. He's like, oh yeah, we like do all these pitches and all this stuff to like help with like grants. Like here's my email. Just give me just like let me know and we'll get you involved. But like this was ridiculous. This was completely unnecessary. I don't know why I had to do all of this to get here. Go to TEDCO's website. Like that's really, I think, like what I need to stress here is that there are grant options. There are local grant options. It's just they're not obvious, and they don't make them super easy for people to find.
I have a question.
Yes.
Just because I understand you said no, like monetary or legal or tax advice or anything. Do you think it would be possible to get any kind of grant or money in a city that is full of stupid banking corporations?
I mean, it really, well, so.
I mean, there's money, I just don't think they give a shit.
So if you go to the next slide, this is what actually works, is that we didn't win the grant technically for a video game. We won it because they wanted to invest in the technology we were using in the game we were doing. And this is the big thing. You will have a very hard time getting a game funded. You might find art grants that are like $5,000, $10,000, but they're super competitive, and like they're looking for people to do like murals and stuff. They're not looking for game projects. But so when you have when you're able to do when you find a place that actually has grants, it's trying to find what is the technology you're working with that fits into other industries they can use. For us, we wanted to make a Mass Effect style game, so we were building an AI system before ChatGPT. I got to mention that is a different kind of AI, and they gave us the grant for the AI because they saw that it could be used to do different kinds of personalities for kiosks or museums or all kinds of things. So it's trying to find what you can take from your project and fit it into what they're looking for. Because you 100% can, it's just a matter of arguing your point and being able to show what you're talking about with it.
Hey, Sam, just a curious question about
Yeah,
that.
you can answer.
Did you apply for the Maryland R&D tax credit for the AI?
No. No, I see, like there's still more things
You can get 10% off of, a tax rebate of 10% off of all your costs for development.
So and there's all these things that 100% I can't stress. It's finding what ways that you can get your technology to have the funding you're looking for. Especially for us, like that grant opened every door. Like that was what got us our first major news article. We had paid contracts after that. We got another investor from it. It led to being able to get more grants. Getting that first one is so hard, but it opens all of your doors. Like if you can get one, because the person who gives you the grant, they're going to do a whole press release and they're going to push everything out there. TEDCO is great because they have like a huge network of like 500 different companies and news sources. So when they invest in somebody, they send everything out to all those people. Well, sorry to be going through. I think we have 10 minutes left, so I'm trying to make sure we cover all these things. You go to the next one. This is the other big thing I really like. When I say this is ridiculous, it is ridiculous. Do you guess how many Black Lotuses we've sold?
It says on the slide.
Okay, we
Probably
sold 3.
probably should have put that on the slide if you wanted to.
We sold 3 Black Lotuses, which is absurd to me that we've like found them throughout the years.
It's actually a little bit more absurd because it's actually 2 Black Lotuses, but I sold the same one twice.
Maybe you shouldn't be saying that.
It was okay. There was, yeah. Yeah, we don't, I mean, it's not like I stole it back or anything. But yeah.
But like it has been nice because like Tyler's been able to leverage his years of working in a game store and selling these cards, and it allowed us to continue. Like honestly, we have been saved numerous times because what Amit would have his Magic collection, and he'd be like, oh yeah, sell some of this to fund Dogwood, and Tyler was able to do it in record time and made it actually possible. Like
Again, not typical.
no, but like when it comes to finding funding, creativity is such a strength. Yes.
About that, actually, more about Pokemon. My dad recently very much got into the TCG, and he has been kind of joking, kind of not about using it to fund me through college and my game dev stuff. Do you have any like good channels you recommend specifically for Pokemon cards? Japanese,
So-
the Chinese series, anything like that?
Right. So
We deal with conventions. It's almost all through in-person conventions.
yeah, I can talk more about that. I think after the
Okay.
thing because
No, no,
it's
we have
kind
specifics
of
just a
complicated.
lot.
So this Pikachu card that's on that particular one is a card that I sold, but I don't do Pokemon very often. Pokemon is very valuable if you have stuff. But that's a card that I found I went to Japan in 2016 and had in a drawer since 2016 that I bought it in the sealed box it came in or whatever, and was like, oh, this is worth a lot of money, and it was worth a lot of money. So your mileage may vary, but I can talk more about that after the.
I just want to say is like your hobbies that are not just game related can make a lot of this possible. Like, and it's just trying to find creative ways to make it happen because unfortunately it's hard to get that money. Deal with that second final slots. It's we've been doing this for almost 10 years now, and like it's a lot to try and make it happen. I love so much what I do, and as difficult as it has been, it's been worth it. I love it. I've worked with amazing people. I've met such great people. All the people I've met here, like, it makes me so happy I get to talk to all these people at MAGFest, and all these people that want to make video games. Like, it's worth it. Like, the number of times that I've sat there, like, with a verge of tears, just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And, like, I'm just so glad I've kept going through it because it's been worth it. And, like, I really want to stress that, like, it is. And one other thing I didn't put on here that I just have to stress is that the solo dev lifestyle is not worth it. I think it is propped up as this like, oh, amazing, one person can do a video game. My life and my mental state has improved 50-fold because of this guy. If I did not have Tyler, there is no way I could do any of this. And even, truly, he is the best thing that has ever happened to Dogwood since I started it, and I cannot stress that the best asset you can have when you're doing this is a good friend. It makes a world of difference. Do you have any notes?
Sell magic cards. No, really. Yeah, I mean, I said it before. It's really easy to get into conversations and to show passion to the people, especially in the industry that you want to talk to, if you can leverage your interests and speak earnestly with people. So that, if you talk to a game developer about a game that you love, it'll show that your love for that game will show to them. Yeah. And it makes it a lot easier to get into the conversations, the technical conversations about game design and game development. So, yeah, always be passionate.
Thank you so much, everybody.
And have a friend.
Yeah, I think we're going to be kicked out in a minute, so if we want to do questions, we'll be outside for a bit.
Yes.
Thank you so much.